so that we can have the meeting with the board 11 to 12. We'll cover all. All right, if not.
We're ready, Amanda.
All right.
Thank you.
It is 10:08. Let's call the meeting to order. And the director. I don't have any welcome remarks, kind of just went over that briefly. We can skip right through there. Let's go right into the approval of the minutes. Anybody see anything?
So there were two sets of minutes that I sent you guys. One was the June 18th board meeting, and then also the June 18th closed statement of a closed meeting.
I didn't read it till late, but I did see one little in the declaration, the date should be the 18th of June.
Oh, my goodness, I'm sorry. All right, I can fix that page, so that doesn't need to be, I'll reprint that page.
My name is Ben.
And, disclosure.
Crystal, for the record, Crystal, officially changed her name, so now she's Member Cody. I know, because everybody's used to Member Francis. Say Francis, but she's Cody, Mrs. Cody now.
Yeah, that was the only. Yep. If not, did anybody see anything? If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes with that minor change and.
Well, we won't say the change because I'll change the
You'll
first
change it on
page,
there? Okay.
yeah.
I move that we approve the minutes for June 18th meeting.
Second.
It's been motioned and second. Any further discussion? Not all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any changes to the agenda? Did anybody see anything we needed to add or tweak or change? All right, and let's go right into, excuse me, our director's report.
Okay, so, okay, and this is for you. You're the only one that signs this one, and you and Laverne sign this one. So we've still been busy, but I mean, you honestly, we can't tell. It's an awful election year, which is great, you know. Now, and through the rest of the year too, because, you know, and once we hit the ground running, the beginning of 2026, it'll be harder for that. So,
7th, you want me to just change that there?
I did that on everything, yes. And I thought today was Thursday. So I want to apologize again for being late. The redistricting meeting went till 10 of 11 last night. So it started at 4 PM. So I am, my mind is like, ooh, and then, you know, so I truly apologize. And I kept doing that with the date, thinking yesterday was Wednesday, today's Thursday. So, Amanda, oh, okay. So we've been super busy. I've listed all of the meetings and important, dates, trainings and things that we've attended. As far as outreach, we've been, super busy with outreach. So I didn't list it under individually, but there is an attachment with all of the outreaches that we've done in July and August, and then, a bunch of upcoming outreaches. The other thing that I'm not listing individually, is our, the times that we are meeting with the Pathfinder, the U.S. Alliance for Election Excellence. We're part of that cohort. So when the sub cohorts meet, I don't, Jared's here. I do not list those in the minutes either. last thing that I'm not listing individually is the professional development or computer training that our team has taken. So a lot of, Baltimore County offers a lot of really substantial and good, professional development training, both for, staff, supervisors, and management. One of the classes is the project management. I know that the board and I have discussed that before. We've registered everybody for a whole course, a whole bunch of different professional development courses. Yep, Jared can come on in. Thank you, Alex. And unless he wants to go in my room and do something, he's welcome either way. Yeah. Yeah, come on in. So everybody, this is State Administrator Jared Demarinis, and I think most, everybody's met him. So anyway, we're really taking advantage of that opportunity since our county does provide it even to our state employees. The majority of our team are state employees, but because they work in a county building with county or any of those things that they offer. So the management team went over with all the supervisors to decide what trainings would best help everybody on our team and then as well as us. So everybody on the everybody that's a supervisor or manager is taking the project management course and some other leadership courses that we believe will help everybody in their position and their duties. Those trainings also aren't listed because that would make this about a 10-page report. So as far as the activities that are going on, the generator maintenance was completed and inspected. We actually have that new, it's a new thing in the front, but Amanda takes care of all of that. So far, the generators never failed. And what happens is within, I don't know, 10 seconds of the electricity going out, the entire building is fully powered with AC and everything. So they test it every other month. And then as we get closer to the election, they'll test it once a month. And then right before the election, they'll test it once a week. They do in person. They do an automatic test every Tuesday, or what day is the automatic one? Every Tuesday, they do an automatic test through their system. So the generator is working well, which is good because it was $1 million. So I'm glad that's what it's working well.
And those are no further expenses for us, all those testings and all that's part of the package.
Part of yes, the maintenance agreement, yes. The office copiers were replaced. I replaced the black and white one with a color one. So when we're trying to, around election time, that's just gonna make it easier. And the lighting repairs in the warehouse are being done. We're waiting for the parts. They have to bring in a scissor for that because they're so tall up. And the HVAC system filters were all cleaned and replaced. The computer audits were completed by our SBE regional manager on July 7th and on August 8th. No, there were no issues found. If you remember, most of our laptops were replaced along with some of the desktop computers. What I did was I asked Aaron to do those in the computer audit first and then start the cycle again so that we know that the new laptops that were imaged matched all of the requirements and as well as the desktop. So they were done over the course of June or July and August. We're still waiting on like 3 of the phones to be replaced. I don't know when that's gonna happen. I feel like it's the tables. Remember the tables that were pending for like a year? I feel like the Cindy's phone is gonna be on for a year. As far as the election equipment and warehouse, the second cycle of the routine battery charging was completed. It was completed at the same time. Amanda was very smart because we had to pull all the equipment out for ES&S to change the CMOS batteries in the voting equipment. So she scheduled it so we didn't have to pull it out twice in a row. So the second cycle was finished and the third cycle is in progress. Some of it gets, as you know, some of it gets done quarterly, some of it gets done on a different schedule, but she follows that and keeps track, and that's all been taken care of. as well as the battery replacement. It took about a week and a half to replace all the batteries and all of our equipment. Amanda's team assisted ES&S in that. The 2022 and 2020 election materials now can be shredded. The court released the documents for the 2020 election materials. We have it all on pallets, and I've put the rec and PO in for shredded to come and destroy those documents. The cost is about 3 times what it normally is because we're doing 2 elections at the same time because we had to waive the retention of 2020. But I spoke to Administrator Demaris about whether we can just recycle the dead ballots. Those are ballots that were never voted, rather than shredding them, because shredding is expensive. And his guidance, I agree that they need to be shredded because I have to certify that the documents were destroyed. If we recycle, which is a lot cheaper, and we could actually put it in our recycle dumpster, I can't say for certain the items were destroyed. So we're gonna have that little bit of an extra expense, and unfortunately, I couldn't encumber it from our last fiscal year. If I could have, we wouldn't have that expense, but I still think the postage, first class postage went up July 13th. It increased by 5 cents. We expected that, so I included that in our fiscal year 26 budget, so that should not have a big impact. And then also Lanice joined those same programs that we joined, that we were a part of last year. If you remember, it's a little bit of extra, well, it's a lot of bit of extra work on us, but it's worth it because we were able to recoup about $48,000 in postage expense being part of those programs. So we're doing that again. We won't see as much in calendar year 25, but we will see it in the second half of fiscal year 26 that starts in January. Just because our mail, we don't send as much mail, receive as much mail. The voter services department is current and work is processed when received. All of the different reports have been submitted or completed prior to the deadline or on the deadline. The voter services report with the numbers for July and August is included in your board folders. We're really doing well in the manual audit of the individual voter records. The last meeting, President Fuhrer asked if there was a way for me to let you guys know if any of the corrections that we're finding, if they are, and Kim can explain this better than I, so I'm gonna pass it to her. The answer is yes, I found a way to report it to you. It is now on that report. If you look at it, it looks a little different than before. They're tracking what it used to not be required to put phone numbers. Now it is required. So although it is a correction, it's not really a correction because it was already on whatever attached document it is. So we're not changing the source code to correction, but we're calling it a correction because we did something to the file or to the record. And then can you just explain the different categories that,
I have a copy of the
here,
report.
you can use mine.
But the one thing that we did address with the proofing was we proofed to prevent corrections. And in some cases, people were making it a correction and technically it isn't. It's just, we're just reviewing it the same day that they process it. When it came to the breakdown of it, we have included the total numbers, and if there was a problem with a merge or a duplicate, then you'd have a justification underneath of it, whether it interfered with their ability to vote, or if they voted twice or anything. And in all the cases that we've had, we haven't had any of that.
And so that's really good news. And then how far are we? I need to look on the second sheet.
We actually were, the total number of records audited did 43,000.
That's, I know we have 700,000, but still, we're getting there.
But like we said, this really hasn't been like an off election year where we're looking for stuff to do. We've had enough stuff coming in to process, but this is still being done every day. They have a portion of their day that they dedicate to this. So, and they're being thorough. So I'd rather see a lower number knowing we're being consistent and checking everything than it being a high number and they breeze through it. So.
Thank you, Kim.
So what's your thought for a projection to finish the entire rolls?
By the end of the year or before the primary? Can you give us till March? Can we? Until March of 26. How's that?
So a year to go through that maybe?
Year. I would say a year, yes. And then once, I think it will also, we're down a couple people because they were, that, I think it'll increase.
Leave.
Have,
Yeah, people
yeah,
can leave.
people on leave and things of that nature is definitely a contributing factor. But I would say March, definitely want it before training starts. in
Don't
2020.
forget, you have redistricting coming up too, so build that in. Build that into your, I mean, it might be April, but
Feedback on what Kim was saying with the work, this, honestly, I don't think I've ever had an off election year like this election year. And I say that every off election year since we've gotten the new paper-based voting system. It just seems like it's not like it used to be when we had the touchscreens. I don't know if anybody agrees with me, but the one thing we had to stop doing the audit and do was the state now requires us to attach provisional voter authority cards and mail-in ballot signed envelopes when the person asked for a mail-in ballot but voted provisional for whatever reason. Whether it used to be we only attached it if they voted both, but now they want to see both. And we kind of have to have a reason, okay, that person didn't know they received, or we received their ballot. Maybe their mail-in ballot was, they put it in a drop box and it was one of the ones we had to hold for the, you know how we have to hold a certain number of each ballot style. Maybe it was one of those 5 of that ballot style that we had to hold for the provisional canvas. So we have ideas that we're gonna bring to the state to help with things like that, because we have such a large number that has to be held for the provisional canvas. So we have a couple thousand, almost 5,000 or 6,000 voters that think they mailed in their ballot or think they put it in a drop box, but it doesn't say receipt, or it doesn't say it was voted. It says it was received in MD voters, as their wife or their son or their neighbors might, that, you know, had the same delivery method, but it doesn't say that it was accepted through the canvas process till the very end. So Kim has some ideas that we're gonna present to the state to ask, to help us in that area, so that voters don't think that we're gonna get the ballot, they're gonna see received in MD voters all within that couple, the couple day period, and it'll be counted at the same time. So anyway, that's one of the things that was, we stopped doing the manual audit of the records, when we had to attach all of the provisional, because as you know, we had 25,000 provisional, and I think, I don't know, half of them voted mail-in or asked for a mail-in ballot and changed their mind, voted in person. Yeah. So that was a heavy lift. Any questions on any of that? So National Voter Registration Day is September 16th. We have some events scheduled around Baltimore County at 4 libraries. We situated them around, around the Beltway, so that we try to reach as many citizens as possible. Our training department continues with the SOP for the county workday, because we have to hire 4,000 judges again. Unfortunately, the rehire process is similar to the hire process, so it's still going to be a huge undertaking once, the judges are assigned in MD voters. So they're coming up with a set of somebody and had them help. It's clearly outlined how to do that process. And then also, as you know, we've been upgrading and stepping up our election judge training program. We've developed some videos and quizzes. Blair and Casey and Alan actually has a degree in videography and communication. So they're all fresh eyes looking at the program. So I'm excited every time they share something with me that they're getting together. So more information on that. But expect a whole revamped election judge training program. we sent out a huge thank you in our newsletter to all of our election judges on Poll Worker Appreciation Day. I put a copy of that newsletter in your packet. Thank you, President Fuhrer, for sending a message to be included. He sent a message from the whole board, thanking it's called Poll Worker Appreciation Day, but we call them election judges. And I know that they appreciate it because we got a lot of feedback. So I think that they were surprised to hear from us in August of, 25, but I know that they were happy to hear from us because we got calls, emails, and I got a bunch of texts on my phone.
I mean, speaking of the positive feedback, is there any way, because I know you have the mass communication with our judges, if you can send out something on National Voter Day to thank all of them, maybe a text message to all the judges?
Yes, and I'm also doing this. There's an election hero day. And so we're gonna send this postcard to all our judges. And I know it has a lot of colors, so this is just a rough mock-up. So we're doing that and we're gonna send them, we're gonna send them all a refrigerator magnet with the election dates and all that stuff. That's gonna happen on voter registration week. This will happen on election hero day. So, and all of that's happening this year when they're not providing service because we're trying to be very intentional to let the election judges know that we know we can't have elections without them. It takes 4,000 for our, 3,000 to 4,000 for our polling places and early voting centers. So that's why, Kimberly and I and the other, everybody else felt it was necessary to really be intentional with messaging on an off election year, so that the only time they hear from us isn't, can you work or sign up for training, Did you have anything you wanted to add, Kimberly?
No, I did get a lot of positive feedback and they were really thankful that they were recognized because Rui did a thank you as well, but they were appreciative of the thank yous from Rui and the board.
And it was kind of cool too, because we highlighted Blair being promoted to as supervisor of the election judge department. And we highlighted the restructure we did within our office. We now have a voter services department. So we highlighted those things and good things about people on our team, which I always like to brag about our team. So yeah, that was great.
It did create a lot of calls because they want to sign up for 2026. We're like,
So we have a lot of names. But it's very difficult for us right now. We're in the same situation we were in 2022. For those of you that remember, it was very difficult for us to assign judges because we knew the precincts were going to change. Because of the lawsuit, we got to the point where we were keeping track on spreadsheets and things of where people were being assigned. But then it got to the point where if we don't put them in, it's never going to get in on time. So we put them in, and then a lot of the precincts changed, and then we had to say, okay, we're not at this elementary, this is now your home precinct. So we're trying for that not to happen, but I'll talk about redistricting in a minute. The later we get that map and we're allowed to start working, the harder everything is for us. Last night, some of you may know if you were watching, that meeting started at 4 p.m. It was over at 10 of 11. I was just like, my butt was numb. It was, but I tell you what.
Everybody agreed.
Our council members, say what you want about them, but they have a lot of patience because they just kept listening to everybody. Thank you for, they have a lot of patience, but, now there's 3 maps out there, and each map somebody's threatened to sue. So I do not see this. I either see them starting over with one of the maps, or I see them deciding on a map and we're gonna be told, get a court order in September. We're gonna be ready if we get the map and we're allowed to start, we're gonna be ready to start. I just don't see that happening though. So, as I learn stuff, I'll let you know. There's one more public hearing workshop. There's one more workshop it's Tuesday, September 9th. I told you the 8th. I'm telling you, I am so confused on my dates.
Okay, there's my notes from last night.
It's the 9th. Will's gonna join that one for me because I'm actually off that week. The following week, the 15th, is when I have to go, because that's when the council asked me to be there. That's when they're supposed to approve it and, instruct me to do that. We'll see what happens on September 16th. So more to come, on redistricting.
What's that? Well, are you going there in person on the 9th?
No, he's gonna join virtually. Don't go in person. Yet last night I left and went home. I said, I went and asked Chris, can you please send me the link virtually? It got to be like 6:30 and redistricting was last on the agenda. I'm like, man, I think they were hoping people would get up and go home. So I asked Chris, and so she sent me a panelist link. And because it only takes 20 minutes for me to get back from Towson that time at night. So I hurried up and got home and then joined virtually. Till 10 of 11.
Join you
So,
virtually too then.
so virtually, yeah, and don't go in person because I'm sure it's gonna be last on the agenda too. I don't see them putting it first. So that, I don't know if it's gonna go till 11 o'clock at night. But I don't know, we'll see. And they haven't given me the agenda for the 15th either, so I don't know when. I'm not sure what time that's gonna be. As far as, the 2024 presidential election cycle, that's back on my, director's report. Because I received the comprehensive audit and that's from the primary and the general. I just received it 2 days ago. Honestly, I have not had time to review it. I just briefly skimmed it. But what the state does is they give us they do a comprehensive audit. It takes a while it's been, 8 months since the election was certified, but the reason it takes so long is because they look into everything. So it's a very detailed, hence the name of it, comprehensive audit. So that is the director reviews it and responds to any of the findings. And then the director and the president, well, of course, I'll share it with the board like I have in the past. Then the president signs and then I send the response to the state administrator. That's how that works. So just by the September meeting, I will have already sent you all the audit with my response so that you have time to review it offline before the September meeting when Will would sign it. If that works for everybody, that's a good plan. All right. Now back to the 26th gubernatorial election, of course, preparations have started. The election calendar was provided during the last meeting. There's been no changes to that. Our agency website has been updated to include all the 2026 dates and information. And I am still working on the list that I promised you guys to tell you when I needed everybody here or just quorum or whatever for 2026 so you can plan ahead. I'm still working on that. And I was kind of hoping that, well, anyway, I'm still working on that. So I'll have that by September so that you can plan your 2026. To date, we have 15 candidates that have filed for office. There's a list of those in your packet. We put the name and the office they ran for. Keep in mind that there's a couple county council candidates that their district is going to change because right now they have to file in one of the 7 we currently have. But they when we redistrict, it might move them to another district, and that'll happen automatically, and they'll be notified. Just like same as 2022, same thing happened.
Roy,
Yes,
all the candidates that have filed.
so far to date. I know a couple of people have announced,
They run for county executive.
but they haven't filed yet. Yep. Yeah, I know that Julian Jones announced, Izzy Pataka, and Pat Young, all 3 of them announced. None of them have filed yet.
Nick Stewart announced too.
Is he on that list?
No, he hasn't filed.
Yeah, a lot. February, some candidates like to be the last candidate to file for a contest. I don't know. So yeah, every month we'll keep you up. the website, the state board has it set up so that when we file someone, it only takes a few minutes for it to.
I say, I've seen it pretty quick, yeah.
Yeah, so anytime you want to know who is filed either locally with us or at the state board, one of the delegates or whatever, you can always go to our website that links to the state board candidate, information. So the 2026 election plan, which includes polling place, ballot box, and early voting center locations, that is in process. Obviously, the polling place plan cannot be approved until we know where the precincts are gonna be, which can't happen until after we redistrict. So I've already spoken to the state administrator and he understands that we might not meet that goal. It's outlined in Maryland law now. They pushed up the date. Remember, we talked about that, to November when they have to have the plan, we have to submit it to them. So that means our public hearing and stuff needs to happen in September, so you can approve it in October. We can't do polling places, but what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna provide you all my recommendation for ballot boxes and early voting centers prior to September, so you can look at it offline, and then you can review it and hear public comments, or we'll post notice and do all the requirements. September, do that part, and then October, if there's changes or whatever, they can be made before the October meeting, so that we meet that deadline as far as early voting sites and ballot boxes. Does that make sense? So we're gonna do part of it and then do the other part when we're able to. So does anybody have any questions on that or whatever? And is that a okay plan with you all?
Just a quick reminder that our September meeting is a week earlier because Rui's not available that following week. So it's September 17th.
Yeah, I have that training in September.
To make sure that we all know it's a little bit earlier.
So I already talked a little bit about the redistricting in the director's report. I put the map is expected September 15th. And that, I'll keep you guys updated. If you go on the Baltimore County government website, you can see the maps that the commission put forward, that the original map that Councilman Pataka put forward, then there's the commission's map, and then there's the one that Chair Ertel put forward. That's in the bill that they discussed last night. And then there's the map called the Woodlawn something, the Woodlawn plan. That's the map that the Linda Dorsey Walker and that team. So I think there's 4 maps. That's what I'm saying. There's 4 maps, but as far as I know, the one that the board, the council is reviewing and that's included in the bill is the map that Chair Ertel put forward. I have 4 confidential voter requests. Do you want to do those now or do you want to do them under new business? Okay. Baltimore County now requires that heat prevention. We talked about this and all of you all took that required training because you're county employees. So did everybody on my team. I did. Okay. So any county agency, in addition to following the countywide heat prevention, they also have to come up with their individual agency policy for heat illness prevention. Because nothing we do this year is outside, I got a waiver for me for this year, but next year I have to have it because we have ballot box pickup and, that type of thing. Amanda and I and the management team have come up with the policy. I just need to finish drafting it and then I'll send it, I'll present it to you all and then I'll submit it to the county HR director. My guess is the state is gonna do something similar soon with the heat illness a required training or whatever. So more to come if that does happen, but in the meantime, we're following all the new guidelines that the county put forth. We're always lucky we get to follow both. The State Ethics Commission training, all board members have taken that. Josh, did you take it? Do you remember? I don't remember. I know you all took it and I let the deputy administrator know that.
Fine. I'll take it after the meeting.
Well, I sent you a link. I couldn't remember whether you said you were gonna take it or not. But I did let, Katie Berry know that you all took it. As you know, Administrator Demaris is here to provide the board with the state director performance evaluation. That'll be done in closed session after this meeting. The other personnel information is the PEP process that's required for all state employees was completed timely and submitted to the state board. The evaluation process for my county employees is in progress, and I hope to have it completed by the end of September, for all of our county employees. Remember I told you that I was struggling because in Workday, it kept telling me to evaluate you all because I'm definitely your supervisor, so you guys get paid. So I had to write a waiver, and I had to go and ask for that to be waived because it's not appropriate, obviously, for me to evaluate you all. So that waiver was received, and I won't get a reminder telling me to do it, and you won't get a reminder saying it's time for an evaluation. They fixed whatever in Workday that was they changed a code or something. Do you get that for the other board that you're on for the county? So I think that's what it was. When they set you all up in the county Workday, I think they didn't have that code that the other boards had. So they just had to fix it like that. And then the last thing is the meetings and important dates. President Fuhrer already talked about the 17th, as did I. October 22nd is the October meeting. November 26th would be the November meeting, but we're canceling that because it's Thanksgiving week. And then December 10th is the December meeting, which is going to be held earlier in the month because our meeting falls during the holidays at the end of the month, and we'll hold our holiday party on that same day. And with that, I'll take any questions if anybody has questions.
All right. Guess we'll go right into Josh, your board council report.
I just wanted to feedback with what the director said about redistricting. We have a couple of things that are going on now that can greatly affect us that we have no control over, which is great. First, obviously, is redistricting. Like the director said, there's going to be lawsuits. So the best thing that could happen for us is that they put forth a map on the September 15th, just to keep that process on track. Obviously, we have no control over that. We're just hoping and wishing that that does happen to keep us on track. As far as any of the many stories you may have seen in the news about changing election procedures and things like that, once again, we were sidelined in this because largely this is a dispute between the State Board of Elections and the federal government as it is unfolding. We have not been named a party to any of these matters yet, so we're not in any of this litigation, but anything that comes of it will be binding on us. These things are out of our control at this.
In the state board, the state board, they usually they'll send us that stuff and say FYI, and then I forward it to you all. But usually it's FYI, no action needed on your part. I think they just want to keep us involved because, they know we see the news or read the paper and hear all this craziness. So they share that with us so that I guess we don't worry, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, in addition, the director sent me information and a link about the Brennan Center for Justice is running I guess you would call it a program or a group that's just a resource on laws that are changing, but also like subpoena compliance, things like that, just to give local board attorneys like myself and directors like Director LeBoy some guidance on how to deal with these kind of things. We haven't had any major issues with any of that kind of stuff yet, but who knows? I'm sure y'all know at the last presidential election, we had 158,000 people vote the day of. The federal government now wants to do away with mail-in and early. We had 111,000 mail-in and 126,000 early. So if we get rid of those, obviously that's going to affect how our staffing is on day of, if day of is the
Well, actually, it won't.
I mean, or,
Yeah, so so we used to have 2 to 5,000 absentee. Now we have between 100 and 200,000. So we've gotten to the point where we can do those 3 types of elections at the same time. So if we go back to, absentee for reason or whatever, whatever happens, we've never not planned for full, turnout right. So remember, the state board sometimes, you can deploy less equipment during a gubernatorial or during a primary. We never do that. We always deploy the same so that our judges are used to having that many poll books or 2 scanners or whatever it might be. So fortunately for us, any changes like that won't be as hard to, process and
Right.
figure out because we don't change. We still order that many ballots and things like that, so.
it's just something that's out there.
Yeah.
And I think most importantly for our concerns today, if a county board of elections is named in a lawsuit in Maryland, the state board is automatically joined in. The state board has the full-time attorneys, the attorney generals, obviously local board councils are part-time positions. So they're the ones best equipped to fight. So by statute, they have to be joined in. So it's not like somebody with a lot of resources could just show up to a county that have a lot and kind of impose their will on them. So like I said, while we are not a party yet, because they just skip us and go right to the state board, they skip the counties to get results. We are binding on some of this stuff, and maybe Jared can give us the latest and greatest on that later, but that's where we are as far as that goes. So we're not actually a party to any ongoing litigation now. If that changes, obviously we'll let everybody on the board know right. Like I said, I did sign up for the Brennan Center at the thing. So we do have some guidance there, and it's a group of people that are dealing with all the same things we are. Aside from that, we're just unfortunately on the sidelines for redistricting and for these procedural things going forward on national elections. So stay tuned.
Any old business that we missed? I don't think there was anything. New business, you have the confidential voters.
Yes, so we have 4 confidential voter requests. The state now does all of, if it's a sitting judge or a past judge, with those forms go directly to them now. So the 4, we'll call them voter 1, voter 2, voter 3, and voter 4. That way we don't say their names. The 1 voter, full disclosure, is my daughter. And the reason that she is requesting to be confidential is because I attended several meetings over the last month or so, and my team is a witness to what happened. There was one particular person in attendance at both meetings that put his arm around me and said, "Oh, don't you live in Owings Mills? Your daughter lives in Owings Mills too." It made me feel extremely uncomfortable. He started asking a lot of questions about her. So I am, I told her maybe, put in the confidential request because her safety is extremely important to me. And some of the facts he was saying were true. So I don't know whether he got those facts on Facebook or whatever, but I've talked to her about what information she puts on her online thing. And I told her it's unfortunate that this is the world we live in, but her safety is my number 1 priority. So she would be voter number 1. And here's her application for the board's review. Voter number 2 is an employee in this office who received a verbal threat from a caller, and she was also a witness to the person that was asking me the unusual personal questions about my child. So she is putting in a request to be confidential. She is a current election official who interacts with the public consistently in her job duties.
She didn't have anything checked for which category.
Oh, she probably didn't know. All right, I'll do that. So that's voter number 2. She might not even, oh, she did, okay. Voter number 3, is hold on one second. I looked at these, but I want to make sure I tell you the right thing. Voter number 3 is the husband of a sitting judge who is requesting to be confidential.
Now for voter number 2, it does say to attach any relevant information or anything. I don't even see a statement as
So
to,
we can, and that, I was gonna ask you, do you want, cause Kimberly is was a, do you want us to do that? I affirm that this happened, or
I would be,
whatever.
I think that would be the
Add
best
that.
thing, because it does say to put any information pertaining to it too here, and it has a space here. I'm sure they could type up something and we
Yeah.
can attach it.
Okay,
Just my thoughts.
yeah, and then, so,
And then if voter number 1 wanted to do the same thing,
Yeah,
attach
so-
something to it that we can.
okay, so what you guys could do, the board could do if they wanted to, was you can, approve it with that condition that
Like
the.
we've done
voter
before.
provided- Yes,
Make it
provides this.
temporary as long as they provide information by, whatever, you put it, I forget what you call it, but yes, you block it out now,
yeah,
pending
yeah.
attachments. or-
Pending receipt of that, so yeah. So, and then when they, provide that, it's up to you, I can bring it, I can share that with you, what they provided in writing. And then the last voter, which would be voter number, 4, is, let me make sure I got it right. Is the daughter, biological daughter of a sitting judge who is requesting to be confidential. Now, I did not ask those 2 to give us any documentation because sitting judges are automatically approved, so it never dawned on me that you all might, and you have every right to ask for it. They gave me an affirmation, though, that they are the biological
Yeah, I mean,
daughter of
that-
the
that's
judge.
good.
So if that's good enough, or I am the husband of that sitting.
Yeah, I
judge.
mean, here it says, here's the category,
Yeah,
and it's a signed affidavit, which is
Yeah.
to the truth. So I mean, that's proof to me that they are. So that was number 3 and number 4.
yes, that's it.
For number 3 and number 4, would it be okay if the board well, we'll break it down into 2 things. Number
Okay.
3, voter 3 and 4, because they do have the necessary information attached, maybe we could make a motion to put them on the list based on the information they've given. And then a separate motion could be voter number 1 and 2 could be put on the list pending further information.
Okay.
I don't know, I was just talking it out.
That's your deputy administrator texting me. She's asking about last night, I'm sure.
Anybody have any questions on those 4
Turn it off.
voters or need any information? Early?
I don't. So, we would need a motion.
That's what I'm asking.
So-
Would the board feel comfortable with someone making a motion to put voter number 3 and number 4 on the list because they do have the necessary attachments already today?
Well, I'm fine with that.
Someone wants to make a motion for me?
Well,
So voter number 3 and 4, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
all right, I make a motion that we accept voter 3 and 4 and put them on the list,
Confidential.
confidential voter list. Voters 1 and 2 would be placed on once we have the documentation needed.
Approved with documentation.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye.
Al, you were the second? I'm sorry. Okay.
Any opposed? Passed. MS? Did you have any other new business for us?
No, I don't.
I have one more question. So once they get that documentation, you'll let us know and they'll be all right, I'm at to put on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I can share that with you encrypted by email. What happens when we get a confidential request is we make them confidential right away when we receive the request because we don't want anything to happen, in the interim before a board meeting. So they're like temporarily confidential until you all vote on it and make a decision. So we'll keep voter 1 and 2 confidential pending the documentation, and I will provide, I'll send that to you when it's received.
How long is this confidentiality kept?
So normally we review the confidentiality request once a year. But there's some instances where it never gets reviewed. They can be permanently kept confidential. So it just depends on what type of confidential voter they
No
are.
review of those that have been approved in the past to update their situations.
There is. So, and when they update their situation, it'll come back before you. If they are if they're a confidential voter that requires to be to reapply, we send a letter to them. So it's reviewed once a year, everybody that's confidential. We send a letter to them saying it's time to renew. Do you still have a need to be confidential? If so, please provide these documents, and we give them an application. So those would come back before you. And that happens, she hasn't done it yet for 25, but she did it in 24. I don't know if you all remember, but you had like 10 or 12 to do all at the same time. That's when we did it in 24. So it'll happen soon. It just, I can't remember when Rita does it, honestly.
So if they reapply, they'll not necessarily come back before us. They'll just automatically be approved.
There are some that don't need to reapply, but anybody that reapplies will come back before you, with the exception of people that the St. Francis address and sitting judges, they go directly to the state board. But I will let you know about them, that those applications were received and we submitted them to the state board. So, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think Rita checks it every so often, and it's by the date it was submitted. You know what I mean? So she has a process, and I can get her to step in and tell you that. I haven't done confidential that part of it in years, so I'd have to have her step in and tell me how she does it.
These would cover the 2026 election.
Yes, the ones that, well, it would cover through, if they are one that has to renew, it would cover through the primary.
Just through the primary?
Natasha, can you go get Rita? I don't want to misspeak on this, Al. I used to do confidential when I was Katie. So I want to make sure you get the right information.
And I'm over here trying to look it up too right now.
So I know that she has a schedule, and I know that Rita keeps track of it, of when she needs to.
You'd be surprised if it stopped after the primary.
And you're right, it might go through. We might do it once a year for everybody. That's what I,
Calendar year, then the general would be after, so that might be why it only goes through the primary.
right.
Because November would be election.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good,
We're only in August right now, but
it's been a minute since you did.
The whole election.
just to keep track of time, let's keep going because we can speculate, but we'll just wait for Rita to come in for that one.
One question. The people that said they got verbal attacks or whatever, have they reported this to the police as well? Is this a fault? I mean, because that's serious if somebody is saying that they go.
So, yes, I did let
I'm
our,
just wondering if they got.
I let our liaison at the, well, the guy that guards me toward the election, he's down at this precinct, and my daughter happens to live in the same, so I let him know that happened. It just was the most uncomfortable feeling, and it happened 2 times in a row. The second time, it was a little more than I could take, so.
Verbal threats, that's not good.
Yeah, and whether it's on the phone or in person, it makes who's receiving it feel the same. And I want everybody on our team, I want them to feel safe, whether they're here or they're out in the public representing us. I want everybody to feel safe in doing their job. And that's why things like this it's so important to me.
Okay.
All right, while we wait for Rita to come in, any other new business? Not, let's go through any disclosures. We'll start at the end. Miss Cody,
Miss Cody, Mrs. Cody.
thing? Nothing?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. I did have a $40 check to the East Side Baltimore County Republican Club.
East Side.
Baltimore County Republican Club.
Okay. How many Republican clubs are there? Because they all keep contacting me.
Yeah, This
for
was,
selection of
this was a different club.
And I'm like, I didn't even know it existed because I thought it was only two.
They're trying to rebrand and come back out.
Okay. So you just donated to them?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. And I have none.
Josh, anything?
None.
Miss Rita,
Yes, ma'am.
I can't remember exactly how the confidential process happens for the ones that have to renew. Can you explain what you do? Please.
Okay, that took me a moment. I had to. What happens is before the primary, we send out a letter to people that are not
Automatically.
Francis or automatic. So we send out a letter saying, are you still going to be confidential? And they send back the form that says, I want to stay as confidential, and then
With the document.
yeah, we bring them here and then you say, okay, or not okay,
So it's actually, I told them every year that was a lie.
every other.
It's every other year. So before the primary, so what you would probably do it in January or so? Okay. If the primary isn't until June, like a gubernatorial, like the one coming up, would you wait later, closer to the primary, or do you still do it in the beginning?
We need to know at least a couple months before.
Yeah.
Before
okay.
the election so that we can get confidential ballot out to whomever it's confidential.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Anything else?
Does anybody audit that?
I am.
You audit?
Yeah, and any judges are, the law enforcement people, that have applied over the years. I mean, because once they're undercover or whatever, they don't ever want to be on a list or something, so. That's, or the people that are in the have the St. Francis, protected address. Or all the people that are automatic. He was asking, like, who would be automatic?
Automatic would be judges.
And also, does anybody audit?
Oh, audited, I do. She does it, there's only two people that handle confidential in our county, and it's Rita and myself. So I audit her and she audits me. So like, let's say Rita's out and stuff comes in, I'll do the letter and all that, but then I give it to her and she proofs it and reviews it, and then it gets filed. And all of that stuff is locked in my office, so the only people I can get to are her and I.
Okay.
We actually have a couple election judges that are confidential for various reasons that you guys have approved over the years.
Okay.
Rita handles all their paperwork when we do, let's say, it's time to send the applications out to all registered voters, the mail-in ballot applications. We would send the confidential because the state doesn't want to send that information to the printer because they're confidential. So we end up sending those if the person asks for a mail-in ballot. Rita handles all of those. So it's very, very controlled on who handles the confidential things for voters.
Any information, it comes through us to send out to confidential people.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Rita. No, and I misspoke, so I'm glad I called you in here.
And,
I feel like you do it more than once every other year, though. I feel like or maybe you're just auditing what you have.
That could be.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Meeting information, we already talked about that. Any other business that we need before we entered into a closed session? If not, we don't have anything to discuss after we come out, right? So can someone make a motion to enter us in the closed session? Let's say in 3 minutes. So we have a 3-minute break if we need to take a facility or grab a drink or something. And come back at 11:10 for a closed meeting. Does that make sense, right?
I move that we adjourn this portion of the meeting into our closed session after the 3-minute break and return at 11:10.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And then are you gonna, adjourn the regular meeting immediately after the closed meeting is adjourned?
Yes.
Can you say that now? Then we can write it.
And since there's no,
Done.
since there's no further business, those online and whatnot will know that we will be closing. So who will make a motion? We make the same motion to close the,
Yeah, I move that we'll immediately adjourn the meeting since there is no additional business that needs to be.
will you send a second? Perfect. So the same ones, all in favor of that? Aye. You. Take a 3-minute break. I'm back.